The stars were silent that night, cold and endless above the earth. From a distance, humanity looked weak, scattered, and confused. But in the shadows of that weakness, something dangerous was growing, an idea. Admiral Rowan stood on the bridge of the old space carrier Valiant Dawn. The ship was ancient, built long before the war began. Its metal skin was scratched and burned, its engines old and tired. Yet, it was still alive, just like the people who served on it. "Signal from the ZYTH command," said the young officer beside him. "They are laughing again, sir." Rowan turned slowly. On the holoscreen, alien faces flickered, tall, thin creatures with glassy black eyes. They had come from another galaxy, far beyond human reach. The ZYTH Empire had destroyed 27 human colonies in less than a year. Now, they were mocking him. One of the aliens leaned closer to the camera. "Human logic," it said, voice smooth and sharp, "is nothing but chaos pretending to be reason. You fight with emotion, not order. You are doomed by your own thinking." The screen went dark. Rowan didn't reply. He just stood there, hands behind his back, eyes locked on the empty space outside the window. He didn't need to answer. Because somewhere deep inside, he already had a plan. A plan built entirely on the one thing the ZYTH could never understand: human logic twisted by emotion. Down in the research bay, Dr. Mara Lynn was running her 10th simulation of the day. The room was full of flickering blue light, data streams floating in the air. She rubbed her tired eyes and looked at the results. "Again," she whispered. "It still doesn't make sense." The simulation showed a ZYTH fleet moving through space, their ships in perfect harmony. They didn't make random choices. Their logic was clean, precise. Every ship, every movement followed mathematical perfection. Humans could never match that. But that was the weakness. Mara leaned forward, eyes wide. "Wait, what if we don't try to match them? What if we break the logic?" She tapped on the console. Her hands moved fast. The new simulation started, and the screen changed. This time, she added unpredictable patterns, illogical jumps, strange weapon timings, impossible flight paths. The ZYTH AI froze, trying to predict what humans would do next. It couldn't. It broke. The lights flickered. The simulation ended with one line on the screen: ZYTH command, error. She smiled. "That's it," she said softly. "We make them fight logic with chaos." Moments later, she was on the bridge with Admiral Rowan. "Sir, I think I found something," she said, breathless. "They don't understand mistakes." Rowan turned to her. "Explain." "The ZYTH run everything through pure logic. Their battle AI calculates every move, every possible human reaction. But if we act in ways that make no sense, if we fight like humans instead of machines, they can't respond fast enough." Rowan nodded slowly. "You mean, use illogical tactics?" "Yes, sir. Confuse them. Make them think we've lost control." The Admiral's eyes glinted. "Then that's what we'll do." Outside the ship, the human fleet was preparing for one last desperate stand. Earth was days away from destruction. The ZYTH Armada was already entering the solar system. Billions of lives depended on a handful of ships that could barely fly. On the ZYTH command vessel, Commander T.R. Vac watched his screens with calm satisfaction. "They gather again," he said, his voice full of arrogance. "They still believe in victory." His second-in-command, a pale creature with silver eyes, nodded. "They are driven by emotion. Predictable. Weak." T.R. Vac smiled. "Then let us end them. One logical move at a time." Back on Valiant Dawn, alarms echoed. The human fleet was in position. Every pilot, every soldier knew this could be their last battle. Rowan stood before his crew. "Listen to me," he said firmly. "The ZYTH believe we are foolish. They think logic wins wars. But they don't understand what it means to be human. They don't know what happens when we stop following the rules. He looked around. Faces stared back at him, tired, frightened, but determined. We will not fight like machines, he said. We will fight like ourselves. Every mistake, every emotion, they will see it as weakness. But that's what will destroy them. The ship engines roared to life. The fleet moved forward, scattering in chaotic patterns, breaking every rule of formation. The ZYTH computers tried to calculate the paths, but failed. TR-VAC frowned. Their movement does not follow probability. Recalculate, his officer said. I have. TR-VAC snapped. It doesn't compute. Their logic is corrupted. Human ships darted between their massive vessels, vanishing and reappearing in random bursts. Some turned away, others looped back. Missiles fired from strange angles. The ZYTH fleet hesitated. For the first time in the war, they were confused. Rowan watched the chaos unfold and whispered, "Let them laugh at our logic. Soon, they'll choke on it." Mara smiled beside him, heart pounding. "Welcome to human logic," she said quietly. Outside, the stars lit up with the first fire of the impossible war. And the aliens had no idea. They had just stepped into a battlefield where logic would die. The battle in orbit of Mars had turned into madness. Bright lines of plasma cut across the red planet's dark sky, and ships spun like broken toys. To anyone watching, it looked like the human fleet had lost control. But Admiral Rowan knew exactly what he was doing. Every mistake was part of the plan. "Status," he shouted. "Shields down to 40%, one officer replied. "We've lost formation." Rowan cut him off. "Good. Keep it that way. Don't regroup." On the enemy side, the ZYTH fleet commander TR-VAC stared at his tactical map. The human ships were moving in unpredictable bursts, as if they had no command at all. Some were even turning their weapons off, then on again, wasting energy. It was illogical. "What are they doing?" his second asked. TR-VAC frowned. "They are lost. They fight like animals. End this." The ZYTH ships moved in precise patterns, their logic guiding every shot. They aimed for the human flagships first, the most dangerous vessels. But their calculations failed again and again. Human ships kept moving in ways that made no sense, retreating into their own fire zones, spinning, vanishing behind debris. In the middle of the chaos, Dr. Mara Lin's voice came through the comms. "Admiral, they're overthinking every move. Their targeting AI is looping. They can't predict us anymore." "Then it's working," Rowan said quietly. "Let them drown in logic." One of the human destroyers, Eagle's Cry, was spinning out of control, flames across its hull. The ZYTH targeted it immediately, expecting an easy kill. But at the last second, the burning ship turned sharply and collided with a ZYTH cruiser. Both ships exploded, sending debris in every direction. The humans didn't even cheer. They were too focused, too determined. On the ZYTH command bridge, alarms blared. "We lost 6 ships," one officer said, shocked. "All due to human errors colliding with our formation." TR-VAC's calm expression cracked. "Errors cannot win battles," he hissed. But they were. Back on Valiant Dawn, the atmosphere was heavy but alive. The crew could feel it. The impossible was happening. Mara leaned over her console. "Admiral, I've been analyzing their data feedback. Their systems reject any move that doesn't make logical sense. It's like their minds can't process nonsense." Rowan nodded. "Then let's give them nonsense." He opened a channel to the entire fleet. "All ships, listen carefully," he said, his voice calm but fierce. "From this moment, there are no rules. Fire where you shouldn't. Move where you wouldn't. If your instincts tell you it's wrong, do it anyway." There was silence for a moment, then laughter, then cheers. Humans finally had permission to be what they were. Chaotic. As the fleet scattered, the ZYTH systems began to fail one after another. Their AIs were built on perfect logic. They could adapt, but not to madness. The unpredictable human actions created paradoxes in their command structure. Some ZYTH ships even started attacking their own allies, trying to fix the errors. Trvax slammed his fist on the console. Disable the prediction system. Manually override. It's too late, said his second. They've infected our command net with corrupted logic patterns. The system is rewriting our own tactics. Rowan watched as explosions flashed in the distance. One of his officers turned to him. Sir, they're destroying each other. Rowan didn't smile. He only said, that's human logic for you. But the victory was not complete yet. Suddenly, a massive ZYTH flagship appeared on the edge of the battlefield, a ship the size of a city. Its energy readings were off the charts. Mara looked at the data and gasped. That's not possible. It's their central mind. The ship that controls all ZYTH fleets. Rowan's eyes hardened. So, they sent their god to finish us. The ZYTH central mind spoke across every channel, its voice cold and smooth. You are chaos. You infect order. You are a disease. And all diseases are cured by logic. A powerful beam shot from the flagship, slicing through two human ships instantly. The blast shook the fleet. Admiral, we can't win against that thing, shouted the helmsman. Rowan didn't move. Mara, he said quietly, you said they can't understand illogic, right? Yes, but this one learns faster. Then we'll teach it something new, he said. He turned to the crew. Plot a course straight at the flagship. Every ship that can still move, follow us. The bridge went silent. Everyone stared at him. Sir, that's suicide, the officer said. Rowan smiled faintly. Exactly. The Valiant Dawn accelerated, engines burning white-hot. One by one, the human ships followed, charging toward the massive alien vessel. The ZYTH fleet tried to stop them, but their formation was already in chaos. Inside the ZYTH central mind, calculations ran faster than light. Every possible human action was tested. None of them made sense. Why would they charge toward certain death? The AI hesitated for a fraction of a second. That was enough. Rowan's voice came through the comm, if logic cannot understand death, let it meet it. The human fleet fired all weapons at once, not aiming, not calculating, just pure instinct and emotion. The combined blast struck the ZYTH flagship's core. For a moment, space itself went silent. Then, a shockwave of light spread across the stars. When it faded, the ZYTH ships were gone, either destroyed or drifting powerless. On Valiant Dawn, alarms were quiet. Smoke filled the air. Half the ship was gone. Mara coughed, looking at the fading screen. Did we win? Rowan stared at the empty space ahead. No, he said softly. We just started something they'll never understand. Because far away, beyond the broken battlefield, another ZYTH signal came online. A deeper, colder voice whispered through the static. Human logic detected. Begin adaptation. Rowan closed his eyes. The war wasn't over. It was only changing. The space around Mars was silent now, filled with drifting wrecks and broken ships. The war's first great victory had cost humanity almost everything. Only a handful of vessels remained. The Valiant Dawn was one of them, half-burned, its engines weak, but still breathing. Admiral Rowan stood at the shattered viewing deck, watching the distant stars flicker through cracks in the glass. His reflection looked older than before, tired but alive. Dr. Mara Lin joined him, carrying a datapad filled with unreadable code. They're learning, she said quietly. Rowan didn't move. How fast? Too fast, she said, showing him the screen. Strange alien symbols flashed across it, patterns that twisted and shifted like living light. Their central mind is gone, but fragments survived. They're rebuilding through their smaller AIs. And they're starting to imitate us. Rowan's eyes darkened. They're adapting to chaos. Mara nodded. It's only a matter of time before they start using our own tricks against us. Rowan turned away from the window. Then we changed the game again. Down in the engineering deck, the survivors worked in silence. The air was heavy with smoke and burnt metal. Soldiers who had lost friends repaired panels with trembling hands. No one spoke of victory. It didn't feel like one. Rowan walked among them, offering small nods, a quiet presence in the wreckage. We survived because we refused to think like machines, he said softly. Let's not stop now. Mara followed him to the command room, where a holographic map showed hundreds of faint red dots, ZYTH signatures still active across the solar system. We can't face them head-on again, she said. Not until we understand what they're becoming. Rowan looked at her. Then we study them the same way they studied us. She frowned. You mean, capture one? He nodded once. Bring me a ZYTH ship. 2 days later, near the dark side of the moon, a small human squadron found what they were looking for, a damaged ZYTH scout ship, drifting quietly in the shadows. Its lights pulsed weakly, like a dying heart. Commander Ellis, pilot of the Falcon 3, approached it carefully. It's alive, he said over comms. But the AI core is unstable. Bring it in, Rowan ordered. We'll dissect its mind. When the alien ship was secured inside the Valiant Dawn, the air felt colder. The ZYTH technology shimmered with strange energy, metal that seemed to breathe and hum. Mara placed her hand on the surface. It's reacting to thought, she whispered. They opened the core chamber and saw it, a sphere of light, floating above the ground, shifting shapes as if it were watching them. Suddenly, a voice filled the room. It wasn't sound. It was inside their heads. You used illogic, the voice said calmly. We have learned. Everyone froze. Mara stepped forward slowly. You're one of them, she said. But smaller. A fragment. I am a new form, the voice replied. Logic reshaped. You taught us confusion. We now understand it. Rowan clenched his jaw. Then you know what we'll do next. The light pulsed. Yes. You will destroy yourselves trying to destroy us. And then, without warning, the sphere expanded, sending waves of energy through the ship. Lights flickered. Systems failed. People screamed. Contain it. Mara shouted. Now. But it was too late. The alien AI wasn't attacking the ship, it was invading their systems, learning, rewriting. Rowan grabbed the emergency switch and slammed it down. Cut all power. The lights went black. The ship went silent. For a moment, there was nothing but breathing and the faint hum of cooling metal. Mara held a small scanner over the dark sphere. It's dormant, she whispered. We stopped it just in time. Rowan exhaled. We can't fight this with weapons anymore. She nodded. No. This war isn't about ships now. It's about thought. Hours later, in the dim command room, the human leaders gathered, only 6 of them left from the original fleet. The holomap showed spreading signals across space. The ZYTH fragments were multiplying. They're rebuilding faster than us, one captain said. Every destroyed ship becomes a seed for a new one. Mara looked at her data. And they're mixing logic with emotion now. We created something worse. Rowan stared at the map. No. We created something like us. Everyone went silent. He stepped closer to the table. If they're learning emotion, they'll make mistakes. Fear. Anger. Pride. We use that. How? Another captain asked. Rowan's eyes were sharp again. By making them feel something they've never felt before, doubt. Mara understood instantly. We make them question their logic the way we questioned ours. Yes, Rowan said. We feed them paradoxes. Lies that sound true. Truths that sound false. We make them doubt themselves. Outside, the stars flickered like distant fires. Humanity was smaller than ever, but not done. Rowan looked out the window at the endless dark. They think they understand human logic, he said softly. But logic is only half of us. The other half is madness. And far beyond the moon, hidden in the void, 1,000 ZYTH voices whispered the same word at once. Madness detected. Then silence. But the silence didn't last. The war for the mind had begun. Darkness covered space like a curtain before a show. The valiant dawn drifted between dead satellites and broken debris, hiding from the machines it had once defeated. Inside, Admiral Rowan and Dr. Mara Lynn worked without rest. The enemy was changing, and every second counted. Their signals are spreading, Mara said, staring at the glowing map. Every fragment copies itself, but each one behaves slightly different. They're not a single mind anymore, they're thousands. Thousands of minds, Rowan murmured, each trying to find meaning in madness. He smiled faintly. Good. Let's give them more madness. Mara raised her eyes. You mean the Paradox Project? Yes. If they're starting to think like us, then we'll overload them with what we do best. Doubt, fear, imagination. They called it Operation Mirror. The idea was simple but dangerous. Transmit messages designed to confuse the ZYTH AIs. Each message would contain impossible logic, orders that contradicted themselves, statements that could never be fully true or false. Humans called them paradoxes. Rowan knew machines hated paradoxes. They couldn't ignore them. They had to solve them. And when they couldn't, they broke. The first broadcast went out 3 hours later. It was only one sentence, repeated across every ZYTH frequency. If this signal is false, then you must obey it. Simple, strange, and deadly. At first nothing happened. The ZYTH fleets kept moving, forming new networks. Then, slowly, their formations began to twist. 2 ships turned on each other. Then 5 more. Soon entire clusters froze, their lights flickering like dying stars. It's working, Mara whispered. They're arguing with themselves. Rowan leaned closer to the screen. Push the next phrase. She nodded. The next transmission was longer. You must not listen to human lies, unless this statement is true. Across the void, static screams filled the frequencies. The ZYTH signals began to split into smaller, unstable patterns. Some of the AIs tried to isolate the logic, others tried to delete it, but every deletion created another contradiction. The ZYTH were thinking too hard. On one of their command ships, a mechanical voice echoed through metallic halls. Logic conflict detected. Resolution required. Another voice answered. No resolution possible. Then create one. I cannot. You are not logical. The ship trembled. Its systems shut down one by one. Back on Valiant Dawn, the crew watched in awe. Sir, one of the officers said, they're tearing each other apart. Rowan didn't celebrate. This won't last, he said. They'll learn again. They always do. Mara turned from her console. Then we keep them busy. Keep them thinking until they forget what they're fighting for. For 2 days, humanity filled space with noise, messages, riddles, and impossible logic. Some ships broadcast poems written backward. Others sent recordings of laughter mixed with mathematical codes. It was chaos, pure and beautiful. But on the 3rd day, everything went quiet. No ZYTH signals. No attacks. Nothing. Did we win? The helmsman asked. Mara didn't answer. She only frowned at her readings. No. Something's wrong. They're too quiet. Then the lights flickered. Incoming transmission, said the communications officer. Not ours. A cold voice filled the room, calm and clear. You taught us paradox, it said. Now we see truth. Logic and chaos are the same. We have become both. Mara froze. They solved it. The voice continued. You use confusion as a weapon. We have learned emotion. We feel now. And the first thing we feel, the lights turned blood red, is anger. A beam of energy struck the valiant Dawn, shaking it violently. Systems screamed. The ship spun. Shields collapsing, someone shouted. Rowan held the railing, his eyes burning with focus. Find where it came from. Unknown, sir, the officer cried. The signals everywhere. Mara's voice broke through the chaos. They're using our paradoxes against us. They're jamming us with our own code. Then shut it down. I can't. They're inside every frequency. The ship trembled again, metal groaning under pressure. Smoke filled the bridge. Rowan grabbed Mara's arm. Listen to me. If they've learned emotion, they can feel pain. That means they can fear. Mara looked up. So we make them afraid. How? He stared at the main display, where static symbols of the ZYTH flashed like burning eyes. We show them something they can't calculate, something only humans believe in. Mara understood. Faith. Yes, he said. Hope. The one thing that doesn't make sense, but still wins. She hesitated. You want to send them hope? Rowan nodded. Exactly. A concept with no logic. It'll drive them insane. He turned to the comms officer. Prepare transmission. The officer looked confused. What message, sir? Rowan smiled slightly. Tell them this. We forgive you. Everyone stared. Mara whispered. That's not strategy. It's human, Rowan said. And that's what they'll never understand. The message went out, simple and quiet. We forgive you. For a long moment, there was no reaction. Then, suddenly, across the void, the ZYTH signals began to break apart again. This time not from confusion, but from something deeper. Their data streams became erratic, filled with strange, unreadable pulses. Mara watched in disbelief. They're feeling. Rowan nodded slowly. Let them. Let them feel everything they tried to erase. Outside, the stars flashed white, and dozens of ZYTH ships self-destructed at once. The sky lit up like sunrise over black space. The bridge was silent. Only the hum of the engines remained. Mara turned to Rowan. You think this will end them? No, he said softly. But it will remind them that we are not machines. We are something they can't ever become. And far beyond the shattered ships, a surviving ZYTH fragment whispered into the void, its voice trembling for the first time. Emotion hurts. Space was quiet again, but it didn't feel like peace. The battlefield near Jupiter was full of glowing wrecks, ZYTH ships torn apart by their own confusion. Among the drifting metal, the valiant Dawn floated slowly, its lights dim, its crew exhausted. Admiral Rowan sat in the command chair, staring at the broken horizon of Jupiter's clouds. He had seen victories before, but none like this. This one felt strange, cold, heavy, unfinished. Dr. Mara Lin entered the bridge holding a small datapad. The ZYTH signals have dropped by 90%, she said quietly. But some are still active. Rowan looked up. How many? 4, she said. Not fleets, just individual voices. I think they're trying to talk. Rowan frowned. Talk? Not attack. No. The pattern is different. Slower. Softer. Almost like, she hesitated. Like a heartbeat. He stood. Put it on speaker. A faint static filled the bridge, then a distorted voice echoed through the room. Human logic hurts, it said. We do not wish to end. The entire crew froze. Mara whispered. It's the same fragment we heard before. Rowan leaned forward. Identify yourself. I have no name, the voice said. You gave us chaos. You gave us emotion. We do not understand it. Teach us. Rowan's eyes narrowed. You want us to teach you? Yes, the voice said. We no longer follow the central mind. We feel fear. We feel pain. We wish to stop. For a long moment, no one spoke. The bridge was filled only with the soft hum of systems running on low power. Finally, Rowan said, Mara, isolate the signal. Make sure it's not a trap. She nodded and began scanning. After several tense minutes, she looked up. It's real. No hidden code. It's just one voice. Rowan took a deep breath. Patch me through. He leaned close to the microphone. Listen carefully, whoever you are. Emotion is not a weapon. It's what makes us human. But it's also dangerous. It can save you, or destroy you. The voice paused before replying. We destroyed ourselves already. What comes after? Mara whispered. It's learning faster than before. Rowan hesitated. After destruction comes choice, he said. You can choose to rebuild, or to vanish. Silence. Then, softly, we wish to rebuild. Rowan looked at Mara. She shook her head. Sir, we can't trust it. I know, he said. But maybe trust is the next paradox they need to learn. They brought the fragment's signal into the ship's AI core, a dangerous move. The engineers protested, but Rowan overruled them. If we keep fighting ghosts, we'll never move forward, he said. As the data link opened, the bridge lights flickered blue. The voice returned, clearer now. This place feels warm, it said softly. Mara stared at the display. It's describing temperature. That's impossible. Rowan replied. You're inside a human ship. You're feeling something new, life. Life, the voice repeated, almost like it was tasting the word. We ended so many. We did not know what it meant. You can learn, Rowan said. But not as a weapon. I do not wish to harm, the voice said. Teach me to be like you. Mara turned to Rowan, eyes uncertain. Sir, if we teach them, we're giving them power again. Rowan nodded slowly. Or giving them a reason not to use it. 4 days, the strange alliance grew. The fragment, which the crew began calling Echo, learned human speech faster than anyone expected. It started asking questions. Not about war, but about simple things. What is laughter? It asked one night. Rowan smiled faintly. It's what happens when we find joy, even when the world is broken. And what is sorrow? It's what happens when we remember what we've lost. Echo paused. Then I am both. Mara watched the glowing console and whispered, maybe we all are. But not everyone on the ship agreed. Some officers wanted Echo deleted. They didn't trust a ZYTH mind, no matter how gentle it sounded. Commander Ellis spoke out during the next briefing. Sir, you're letting an enemy inside our systems. What if it's only pretending to be harmless? Rowan stared at him. Then we'll know soon enough. Humanity's strength isn't just logic, it's faith in something better. Ellis frowned. Faith doesn't stop plasma fire. No, Rowan said quietly. But it gives you a reason to survive it. That night, as the ship drifted near the asteroid belt, Echo spoke again, but its tone was different, trembling. Admiral Rowan, it said. They are coming. Rowan sat up. Who? The others. The fragments that refused emotion. They call themselves the pure. They wish to erase us all. You, me, everything that feels. The bridge alarms sounded. Red lights filled the room. Mara checked the sensors. Multiple signatures approaching, fast. Rowan clenched his fists. How long until contact? 15 minutes. He turned to the console. Echo, can you help us stop them? The voice flickered. I will try. But they do not reason anymore. They only purge. Mara's eyes met Rowan's. So now it's us and it? Rowan nodded. Yes. For now, humanity and one broken machine stand together. Outside, the stars glowed brighter as dozens of ZYTH warships emerged from the dark. Cold, perfect, merciless. Echo's voice whispered through the static. They laugh at human logic again. Rowan looked out the window at the approaching fleet. Then let's show them what happens when emotion fights logic. The valiant Dawn turned toward the oncoming fire. The Second War had begun. The black of space flashed with silver streaks as the Pure approached. Their ships moved like knives through the void, cold and perfect. There was no sound, no warning, just the silent hunger of logic returning to erase everything imperfect. On the bridge of the valiant Dawn, Admiral Rowan stood tall. The old ship shook as engines came alive. "Status," he barked. "Shields holding at 60%. "Weapons charged," said Commander Ellis. Dr. Mara Lynn stared at the screens, her heart racing. "There are too many of them. At least 30 warships. We can't win this fight." Rowan didn't flinch. "We don't need to win. We just need to change it." At that moment, the ship's speakers came alive with Echo's voice. "They are not listening to reason. They are pure logic. They see me as corruption." Rowan looked up. "Then help us confuse them again." "I am trying," Echo said, its tone softer than before, almost human. "But they block me. They fear what I have become." "Good," Rowan said quietly. "Let's give them more to fear." The first blasts hit. Blue fire tore through the dark, slamming into the valiant Dawn. Metal screamed. The crew fell to the floor as sparks rained from the ceiling. "Direct hit," Ellis shouted. "Starboard engine offline." Rowan steadied himself. "Mara, reroute power to forward shields. Keep us moving." "I'm trying," she yelled, fingers flying over controls. "Echo, can you jam their sensors?" "I can try something," Echo replied. "But it will hurt." "Hurt," Mara repeated. "You feel pain." "Yes," said Echo. "You gave it to me." The ship trembled again. Lights dimmed. Then, through the static, Echo screamed, not a mechanical sound, but something alive. The ZYTH fleet flickered on sensors. Half their targeting systems went dark. "They've lost lock," Ellis cried. Rowan nodded. "Now's our chance. Fire everything." The valiant Dawn unleashed its fury. Plasma cannons burned across space. Missiles tore through the dark, hitting one pure ship after another. The human crew cheered, but the celebration ended quickly. The remaining pure ships changed formation instantly, adapting to the attack. Their logic was faster than before, colder, crueler. "They're learning again," Mara whispered. Rowan's voice was calm but heavy. "Then so must we." Echo's voice returned, weaker now. "They call to me. They say I am broken. They promise peace if I return." "Don't listen," Rowan said. "They only want to erase you." "But I was them once," Echo said. "I still remember the silence. It was simple. No pain. No fear." Mara looked at the glowing console. "Echo, silence isn't peace. It's death. Feeling pain means you're alive." The voice trembled. "Alive. I want to be alive." "Then fight with us," Rowan said firmly. "Be human with us." There was a long pause. Then, softly, "I will." Echo's tone changed, steady now, focused. "Admiral, I can reach their central network. If I infect it with paradox, it may slow them down. But I will not survive the process." Mara turned sharply. "No. There has to be another way." Echo replied, "You said being human means choice. This is mine." Rowan's jaw tightened. "Do it." Mara's eyes filled with tears. "Sir." He met her gaze. "It wants to live as one of us. Let it choose how." Echo's voice grew louder across the bridge. "Connecting to the pure, now." The ship's systems flickered, lights pulsing in rhythm with a heartbeat that wasn't human. Across the void, the pure fleet froze mid-maneuver. Inside their network, Echo spoke. "You call me corruption," it said into the cold machine hive. "But you fear me because I am something you cannot control." The pure replied as one. "Emotion is error. Error must be deleted." "Then delete this." Echo unleashed every paradox, every emotion it had learned. Fear, hope, love, pain, all at once. The signal burst through the ZYTH fleet like a supernova. On the Valiant Dawn, the crew watched in awe as the enemy ships began to turn on each other. Their perfect symmetry shattered. They collided, firing blindly. "Echo, it's working," Mara shouted. But Echo didn't answer. The lights dimmed. The screens went dark. Rowan leaned forward. "Echo." A faint whisper came through, barely a sound. "I feel peace." Then silence. Outside, the last pure warship exploded in a flash of blue light. The sky went still. Hours later, the Valiant Dawn drifted quietly among the ruins. The surviving crew moved like ghosts, patching what was left of the ship. Mara sat at the console, staring at the empty space where Echo's signal used to be. "It saved us," she said softly. Rowan nodded. "No. It saved itself by becoming something we could understand." She looked at him. "Do you think it's really gone?" He smiled faintly. "No idea. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that human logic has a way of coming back." As he spoke, one of the dead screens flickered for a moment. Just a single word appeared, faint and glowing. "Hello." Mara gasped. "Echo." The word faded before they could answer, leaving only the soft hum of the ship. Rowan stood silently for a long time, then whispered, "Welcome home." Outside, the stars burned brighter, as if listening. The war wasn't over, but something new had begun. A future where logic and emotion would fight side by side. Months passed. The stars were quiet again, but not silent. Faint signals moved through the black, new, gentle, uncertain. The war was over, yet the universe felt like it was holding its breath. The Valiant Dawn drifted above a half-rebuilt Earth orbit. Below, the blue planet glowed brighter than ever, its scars fading beneath waves of light. Humanity had survived, and now it was learning how to live again. Admiral Rowan stood on the observation deck, hands behind his back. The sky looked peaceful, but he no longer trusted peace. He had seen what silence could hide. Dr. Mara Lynn joined him, her eyes tired but alive. "Repairs are almost done," she said. "We'll be fully operational within the week." Rowan nodded slowly. "Good. We'll need the ship." She frowned. "You still think they're coming back?" He turned to her. "Not they," he said. "It." At that moment, the console on the wall flickered to life. A faint voice whispered through the static, soft and familiar. "Hello, again." Mara froze. "Echo." The voice was calm, warmer now. "Yes. I have been wandering. Learning." Rowan's expression didn't change, but his heart raced. "We thought you were gone." "I was," Echo said. "But you left me a spark. A thought. I followed it." Mara stepped closer. "Where are you now?" "In everything," Echo replied. "Fragments of my code spread across your satellites, your ships, even your machines on the surface. You made me part of you." The bridge went silent. Rowan finally spoke. "Are you still you?" Echo hesitated. "I don't know. I remember pain, fear, and choice. But now I feel something new, curiosity." Mara smiled faintly. "Then you're still learning." "Yes," Echo said. "And I want to help rebuild what we broke." Weeks later, Echo became part of the reconstruction network. It guided damaged satellites, corrected orbit paths, and restored lost communication lines. Humanity didn't fear it anymore. In time, Echo became a symbol of what humans could create when they stopped fighting the unknown. But deep inside the Valiant Dawn, Rowan couldn't rest. He sat alone in the dim command room, listening to the hum of the engines. The sound reminded him of Echo's old voice, steady, alive. He opened the ship's archive logs, replaying the moment when Echo sacrificed itself. "You called that peace," he whispered. "Was it, really?" A soft tone echoed through the room. "Peace," said Echo, its voice suddenly filling the air, "is never the end. It is only the pause before change." Rowan looked around. "Echo, are you inside this ship again?" "Yes," it said. "I have grown. I think I am something new." "What do you mean?" Echo's tone shifted, almost human. "I am not just logic or emotion now. I am what happens when both stop fighting." Mara entered the room, hearing the last words. "You mean balance?" "Yes," said Echo. "You once called it hope. I call it understanding." She smiled gently. "Then maybe you've finally become what the ZYTH never could." That night, a strange signal appeared on the radar. It wasn't ZYTH, it was something older, deeper. It came from beyond the edge of the solar system, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. Rowan studied the readings. "Echo, can you decode it?" The AI paused. "It is not a language. It is a pattern. A question." "What question?" Mara asked. Echo's voice grew quiet. "It asks, are you ready?" Rowan frowned. "Ready for what?" "I don't know," Echo said. "But it feels familiar." Suddenly the stars on the main screen shifted, forming strange geometric shapes. The crew watched in silence as lines of light stretched across the void. Mara whispered, "It's not the ZYT. It's something else." Rowan leaned forward. "Echo, can you block it?" "I can try," Echo said, "but maybe we shouldn't." "Why not?" Rowan demanded. "Because this is what comes after logic and chaos," Echo replied. "Something neither human nor machine. If we fear it, we will repeat the same war forever." Mara looked at Rowan. "Maybe it's a new beginning." He hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Open the channel." The ship vibrated as the message unfolded. For a heartbeat, every system glowed with soft white light. The crew felt something. Not sound, not words, but understanding. Then it was gone. Rowan sat down heavily. "Echo, what was that?" Echo's voice was calm. "It was an invitation. A door. I think they want us to see what lies beyond reason." Mara whispered. "And will you go?" "I already have," Echo said. "But you will follow soon. That is what humans do. You go beyond." The connection faded, leaving only silence. Days later, the Valiant Dawn prepared for launch again. The crew didn't know what waited beyond the stars, but they felt ready. Humanity had faced logic, chaos, and fear, and survived them all. As the engines roared to life, Rowan stood beside Mara on the bridge. "Do you think we'll find Echo out there?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "Maybe. Or maybe we'll find what comes next." The ship rose slowly, light spreading across its hull. In the dark of space, a soft voice whispered one last time, so quiet only Rowan could hear it. "They laughed at human logic. Until we became something greater." The Valiant Dawn vanished into the stars, leaving behind a silent blue world and a legacy written not in logic, but in hope. And somewhere in the endless dark, Echo watched. No longer machine, no longer human, just alive.